Good morning, everybody. I am Jeff Blankenberg, and as usual, we're here talking about code and Alexa and all sorts of cool stuff. I have a couple cool things for you today that I wanted to share, and so I thought we could kind of kick the day off with that and then get right into it. So this morning, first, I got to have the opportunity to speak at the Alexa community in India this morning, which was super awesome. So if you guys haven't checked their stuff out, they have a YouTube channel, they have Slack, they have all sorts of cool stuff. So highly recommended that you check that out if you haven't had a chance. But I gave my talk on people and the future, which I really enjoy the conversation that Karthik must be here. Hello, Karthik. Thank you for the raid this morning. But it went really well, aside from some technical difficulties. That's actually why I'm starting late here this morning, is because things weren't working. My camera wouldn't cooperate. My speakers weren't working. I think I've reconfigured some things to make it work, but yeah, it was a little tricky. It definitely had some challenges here this morning. So anyway, we're here. It's working. All is good. I actually want to check and make sure. Do I have the right microphone rolling? I do. Man, that's great. I don't know what I fixed, but everything seems to be working again. It's the problem with running this whole studio by yourself. Things go wrong and you don't always know why. I think I've got my speakers working in a way that I want them to now. Where they shouldn't shut off when I share my screen, which is a weird feature. Anyway, so that's the first. The second thing, let me do this as a banner. You're going to want to check this out. I'm going to just drop this on the screen just like that. So this is a URL that you're going to want to check out. You don't have to go this second. And we haven't made a major announcement about this yet, so it's not like there's hundreds of people there yet. But we are starting a Alexa community Slack where developers, designers, builders, device makers, everybody can get together and meet and talk and chat and engage. But on top of that, we will also be inviting our product teams, our support teams, our marketing teams, our evangelism teams. All of them will be there also to participate and communicate and chat with all of you. So highly, highly recommended that if you have some time, jump over there, get signed up, join the community, start some conversations. But that is something that I'm pretty excited about. I've been working on this for a couple of months. There's some cool features built into it that I hope you guys will enjoy as well. It pulls in all of our Twitter and blog and Reddit and YouTube and Twitch announcements, and all that stuff will be there as well. Gold Zulu says, why Slack? Sometimes, and you're asking the question, why Slack? I would assume over like, why not Discord? Discord was a much tougher sell for me internally. Amazon rolled out Slack internally as the company just about a year ago. And so everybody already has it on their machines. I would have preferred Slack. I would have preferred Discord, but I am not the only one making these decisions. And so Slack was the place that we landed. It serves most of my purposes, and we can continue to grow and evolve it as we'd like. But I really liked the audio chat and the video stuff that Discord offers, and I just couldn't getting everybody at this company to install Discord also, I felt like was going to be a battle I didn't want to fight. So here we are. We have a Slack. So when you guys have a chance, jump in there, engage, talk. I want that to be an active, vibrant community in the same way that we have like our conversations here on Twitch. I should also note that if you guys have been tuning into the office hours, you know that I've been bringing people in from our developer advocacy group, the DAG group. They will be there as well. So if you have certification issues, if you have whatever, you can find people to talk to there. More often than not, they're still going to direct you to use the Contact Us form and the traditional places that you've gone for that kind of support. But my hope is that we will also be able to have good conversations there as well, at least for the minor things. For major things where they need a ticket and they need to manage your flow, then yeah, certainly we're going to go back through the Contact Us form. But I thought I'd give you guys kind of a secret preview of what's going on there. So check it out. Let me know what you think. If there's stuff missing, if there's stuff you want, tell me. I'm open to all of your feedback. But I want to make sure you guys had a chance to see that also. Okay, so now I'm going to go to this. I guess I can turn off that banner. The next thing that I want to do is get into my GitHub. I have a very specific issue that I want to focus on today. We'll go into, I know you can't see yet. We'll do that. And we'll jump into my GitHub and we'll look at the issues that we've put together for what's going on inside our trivia game. So build question.js breaks everything, but it's not immediately obvious why. Well, we solved that yesterday thanks to a little help from Corey Haynes and just some using our brains. We were able to close that out. So let me open this up. And we solved this using dependency injection by passing the data module to build question.js. Close with comment. Okay. That one is done. So the next one then that I want to focus on is sometimes when injecting Brian's voice into our app, we get this weird error because it says that the SSML node is missing. So let's take a look at what's really happening here. The challenge that I'm running into, if we go look at our interceptor for the response, I have these 4 lines commented out, and I'm going to just a little bit. Is that font size still okay for all of you? If I dump it down to this size, I can see a lot more code on the screen, and it would be nice to be able to do that if I can, but I want to make sure it's all readable for all of you. So, okay, so let's do this. We have our response interceptor. And what we're doing is we're calling this poly.wrapVoice function. What that does is it looks inside the JSON for response.outputSpeech.ssml.replace. And response is right here. So we should, every time, have an output speech SSML replace. That should always be there. Always, always, always. Let's in fact, let's just go look at that. We don't even need to test our code. We can just go look at the developer portal. Kevin Evans says text size is good. That's great. You guys are all scrambling over to the Slack. I can hear it. Good. LJ, I have already had this conversation internally at Amazon, so that's great. I think that Clubhouse is a natural fit for Alexa. What a great way to just navigate and get into rooms and listen. It's all audio. It makes perfect sense. I don't know what is involved. I mean, they're not even on Android yet, so I don't know what's involved in making that happen. But I have sent a few emails for sure. We'll see what happens. So I have my interaction model here. We need to go to my test tab. And in the test tab, we're gonna, let's also fire up some code. So we haven't changed anything. We're just getting it running, but we will just buy it. I don't know what their valuation is, but I'm sure it's already pretty high. Open Jeff's trivia game.
This is TKO Trivia. If you thought Jeopardy was challenging, you're in for a treat.
Okay, so that is my intro. And then the thing that we should notice is that in our output speech, we have response.outputspeech.ssml. This is the thing that I care about, response.outputspeech.ssml. So if we go look in my code, what I'm doing is saying response.outputspeech.ssml.replace. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't work. SSML is there, and it works just fine. The problem is that it only seems to be a problem. Oh, thanks, Karthik. Thanks for coming. Take care. Have a good evening. This is an error that only happens sometimes. So I think I need to bring that code back and figure out what situation I'm creating where this doesn't work, where we get an error here. So I guess we'll just play with it a little bit and see if we can get it to break. So let's say, give me a sports question.
I picked a tricky sports and games question this time. What major American sporting event takes place on the first?
Give me a science question.
Here is a question from the science category. What star is sometimes known as the dog star?
Help.
This is the help intent.
Great. List the categories.
TKO Trivia has 20 categories of questions. They are TV and radio, design, miscellaneous, business, world history, film, food and drink, literature, United States, people, science.
Tell me the categories.
Here are 5 categories I think you might like: business, world, geography, miscellaneous, politics, or tradition and beliefs. Which category would you like to try?
I don't know how to break this. That's the problem. I don't know the situation in which I'm not getting it to work. What if we say like Mount Rushmore? I don't know why that's my go-to wrong answer, but
Yikes. That answer is not correct. The answer was Sirius. What would you like to do now?
so this does introduce me to a new issue, which is I asked for a question way back here, but I never answered it. I said help. I said list the categories. I feel like that's an issue I'm going to have here. Let's did we add that? No, let's add that as a new issue. So the thing that I'm running into is if the user does something else immediately after being asked a question, it isn't removed from the session. We should add this to our response interceptor to just remove it, the question, anytime an intent that isn't the answer intent is hit. Okay, so that's an easy fix. We're going to leave the Brian voice in there. We're just going to continue rolling with that. And my hope is that as we get further into this and it breaks, maybe it's just that it breaks when I have an error and then I'm seeing that error first. That's kind of okay. I guess that could potentially make sense. Yeah. Okay. So let's just leave this for now. These 4 lines are working as expected, but there are times where it breaks, and I don't yet know the case that causes it to break, which is frustrating. Oh, I need to open something else up here. All right. It should also be noted, I know I didn't have it on recently, but it should also be noted, I know I didn't have it on recently. Nice repeat. I should be able to say, this is rolling now. Yeah, nice. So I opened the casino, it's back up and running. So if you're into that, that's available for you too. Okay, so response interceptor is good. What I want to focus on is my other interceptor, the request interceptor. And what we can do here is say, we're getting our user by user ID. We're doing some session attribute stuff. So I should be able to just right here say if let's see. Let's look at the index. Is this? No. Make sure I'm getting this syntax right. So Alexa.getIntentName. I don't have access to that here. No, that's fine. We'll just do it the normal way. Which is if handler input dot request envelope dot what is that called? This is the request envelope dot request dot intent. Request dot type probably should be first. Okay, let's do that. Doesn't equal intent request. So anything that's not an intent request should automatically do this. Or handler input dot request envelope dot request dot intent dot name doesn't equal intent. And I should be able to do this too. Then in these cases, I want to do what I'm doing in the for intent, which is resetting everything. Down here, I have these three values. That should be enough. I mean, clearing the directive is another thing. But we'll, because no, then it'll resolve. It'll resolve out. So I have to figure out a way to do that too. That's trickier. How do I want to handle? Well, I'm not going to worry about it for now. We're just gonna ignore. So that, I feel like that should work. And we'll put a little logging in here just for ourselves. Erasing the question that was asked. Okay. Let's see what happens. So I want to back all the way out of this. I want to start with the very earliest, which is starting the skill and getting a launch request. So the launch request should always do this. Should. Could also break.
Welcome to TKO Trivia.
All right, so it should have hit that if statement. So let's see if it did. Erasing the question that was asked. Perfect. So that's good news. We're doing the thing and we're not getting an error. So now let's ask ourselves a question. Give me a sports question.
This is a fun sports and games question for you. Because they won the first two Super Bowls, the Green Bay Packers were, of course, the first two-time champions. What team became the second two-time champs?
It's a sports question we haven't had yet. So in this logic right here, you can see that I am passing in Miami Dolphins as my answer. I have all of this question ID stuff added to my session attributes. So all of this stuff is going to come through.
Okay. What is your answer?
So I'm going to say help.
This is the help intent.
Now, what I should see here is that obviously this came through right now because that's the request that I got, but I delete it from my session. So if I say help again, it should be gone.
This is the help intent.
And it is gone. That's excellent. So now if you come into the skill and you get asked a question and you don't answer it immediately, you instead say help or repeat. Repeat's a game I still need to play. Let's add that to my list of issues. If I come into my issues and we say repeat intent should be aware the user was asked a question. Because it'll repeat the question. That's no problem. The repeat intent right now would just tell you what the question was again. What I want to do is not let the user just keep saying repeat until they can look up the answer online or something. So the repeat intent should be aware the user asked a question and force them to answer. Or fail. Okay. That's going to take a little bit of work. So we're not there yet, but that's something good to think about as we get into this. So my session management stuff for my questions is good. I don't actually need this console log. So far, the journey through there has felt pretty good. What if I answer a question? We should probably go through that too, right? Give me a science question.
Here is a question from the science category. What red supergiant star in the constellation Orion is a homonym of a 1988 movie starring Michael Keaton, Gina Davis, Alec Baldwin, and Winona Ryder?
If I just ask for another question, that should be fine.
This is a fun sports and games question for you. Tennis player Rafael Nadal is known as the king of what type of tennis playing surface?
Cool. All right, I'm feeling good about this. Feeling good. So let's take a look at our issues. I think we just solved this one. If the user does something immediately after, it never gets removed.
What is your answer?
I'm going to add a new. No, I'm going to close this issue. This is solved, but a new issue around clearing the dynamic entities is created. So let's create that new issue, which is when a question is cleared from memory, the dynamic entities should be cleared also. This requires adding a directive to each subsequent response. So it should probably go in the response interceptor. That submit new issue. Okay. So the way we're doing this right now, if we look at our request interceptors, we come in and we say, is it an answer intent? Are we expecting that they are trying to answer this question? If they did hit the answer, if they didn't hit the answer intent, then these are the three that we're going to use. Talking Newspaper Services says I've stolen the BBC News identity. Here we go, Salt and Burnham. There it is. Got it. Awesome. I didn't really steal it so much as it's an available voice on AWS Holly, and I just happen to be using Brian's voice also. That's all. Anyway, this is how I clear out this session. I wonder on the response interceptor, this is where we catch the SSML on the way out. We could just put a conditional right here that says, if this wasn't the answer, the same condition, if this wasn't the answer intent, oh, the countdown sound. That's the BBC? Oh, that's very similar. Interesting. Very interesting. That was borrowed from what was supposed to be a freely available YouTube video. So hopefully they didn't steal that from the BBC, but it does sound similar for sure. Should we do a recap? Is this the BBC, everybody? If I'll just play it. So that is definitely, well, I got to change that. I can't be using that then. Talking Newspaper Services says that's definitely the BBC. I mean, this is definitely a version of that. Interesting. All right, it sounds like maybe I'm gonna have to find a new intro. I liked that video. I've also borrowed it for the countdown timer for the last 15 seconds, but not living in the UK, I didn't realize that was the BBC's music. Man, well, we'll have to fix that, but that's easy to fix. Let's add ourselves an issue. That is stop stealing music. Change the 15-second wait loop to something that isn't the BBC music. Okay. Anyway, thank you, Talking Newspaper Services. Thank you for the awareness. I love you guys. That's why I'm so glad that you're all here. Okay, we are talking about how do we clear out that session. So if I do it on the way out, so just to give an illustration here, if we look at what I'm really doing, this is the response that comes into my skill, right? So this is what tells me what to do. So in this case, I had the question intent. I said I wanted a sports question, and then I did something with that information. And this is the output that I produced. And so Brian here, if I can find the right scroll bar, Brian here says, oh, here's a fun sports and games question for you. So this response, or sorry, yeah, this request generates this response from my code. In here, I am adding this update dynamic energies, and I'm putting in the answer of the question that I've asked. So it seems like one of the things that I could do here is when I ask a question, I don't want to obviously submit multiple directives like this. I only want to submit one as I'm passing it out. So if you asked a question, then I would not want to clear an existing question from the queue. But if you did anything else, if it was anything but getting a question, man, if I look at my question intent, one of the things that I do here is say, which category? I'm then going to end up with a couple of conditions in which I don't want to do this. Because remember, we are also going to be doing like a 10-question quiz and a daily game. There'll be other situations in which you won't hit the question intent per se. This is just you requested a question in a specific category. But there's going to be a start a quiz thing. Now, those can still use the answer intent. That still will work fine. But there will be a different intent for start a quiz. And the answer intent will have to somehow trigger what the next question will be. Because you'll answer the question, and not only does it need to say correct, that's the right answer, but it also needs to be able to then grab the next question for you and read it to you. Corey Haynes, thank you for the reminder. I got so distracted today by everything not working that I forgot that it was going to change my category. This is a good talk show and podcast, though. Fixed. Thank you, Corey. So, how do I want to address that? I guess I just do what I do for now, which is I want in the response interceptor, I want something similar to what I have here, but it's actually for the question intent instead. On the way out of the question intent, I don't want to do this, but anything else I do. So that's anything that's not an intent request and anything that is not the question intent. And out here at the end, I want to add that, and we want to add that. And in here, we're just going to do what we're doing in the answer intent, which is taking this that's my clear directive. And then I need to do this kind of. So all I need is the add directive part. Like that. So this means that we're going to clear out the question anytime that it isn't the question intent. Is that accurate? Is that correct? Is that what we should do? I don't know the answer to that. It feels fine for now. Let's see. I always like to start with a non-intent request at all. Go and work, please.
This is TKO Trivia, a trivia game with 20 different categories that will knock you out.
Okay, so give me a science question.
This is a fun science question for you. What red supergiant star in the constellation Orion is a homonym of a 1988 movie starring Michael Keaton, Gina Davis, Alec Baldwin, and Winona Ryder?
Okay, so you can see that I have my dynamic entities where I'm actually inserting the correct answer as my slot value. And then if I say help, we should see it erase it.
This is the help intent.
And you can see that right here I have that directive to clear out my dynamic entities. So now if I say Beetlejuice, this should say, I don't know what you're doing, man.
I heard you say Beetlejuice, but I'm not sure what you want me to do. What should we do next? You can say give me a random question or start today's game.
Okay. So we're now clearing out that question from our context and the appropriate times. The trouble that I'm going to run into eventually, once we start building the games, is that this condition right here is going to have additional conditions. We'll have a quiz intent or whatever start today's game means. All of that will be additional conditions that could potentially throw this off. So I'm also going to need to remember that, because when I create the quiz intent, questions aren't going to get out of the queue when I want them to. And so I'm going to have to be aware that it's going to erase my questions automatically. And I'm going to get frustrated and say, why are my questions disappearing? I almost guarantee that will happen. We will have a clip later where Jeff's like, I don't understand. I'm giving it a question and it's erasing it. It's because of this. This is what's going to erase that question. But we haven't built that yet, so I don't feel like I need to optimize. Okay. So we have our question intent stuff working. Let's go back and look at our list of issues. We've got plenty of things to do. In here, when a question is cleared, the dynamic entity should be cleared also. Good, good, I like this. Close. Okay, what else can we close? Repeat intent. We're not getting this error at all, but I'm going to leave this because it's sometimes. I don't actually know why this is an issue yet, but we'll get there. Let's talk about the quiz. Maybe we could find an interesting way. Or no, we could do the achievements. Achievements are kind of fun. Yeah, let's do achievements. That's a good thing to have early, because then we can continue to add achievements to the system as we have more things to do. So I have other places where I've done this. The new casino has achievements. And we do this a lot like our speech, where a specific thing happens, we pass a code to a function, it goes and grabs the appropriate record, and then we log that for the user. So we have achievement, and we have a user achievement table. Galatian developer, thank you for the follow. Welcome. We're building a trivia game for Alexa today, and I'm glad you're here. So you can see I have all sorts of achievements that we put in for the casino. I think we can follow a very similar model for what we're doing in our trivia game. So I have is disabled, obviously. Then we have a code, we have a description, and then points or something. I don't know if we're going to have points in this game yet. Oh, excuse me. We might get to a place where we have points. So let's come into the TKO trivia here. And we'll just create a new table called achievement. So that's going to come over and we'll put it right here. Achievement. Okay. First things first, record ID. It's good to have a unique identifier that's consistent and predictable. Great. Got some record IDs. The next thing I want is disabled. If I ever need to turn an achievement off, I can do that. That's just going to be a checkbox. It's a Boolean value. Great. The next one is going to be, I guess code is fine. And that'll just be a single line of text. Then we need a voice response. And this is going to be my single line of text. Ooh, yeah, I'm going to have to do this with locales too. That just occurred to me. So this also needs a locale. And our queries will have to take that into consideration. Create field. So now we have a voice response. That's going to be the voice response we have. And then the other stuff was like the join table. So we'll have another one called user achievement. And user achievement is going to have, again, a record ID. Great. And then this is going to be a link to another record. It's going to be to user. We're going to call this user. And then this is going to be a link to a table called achievement. Save. And then we'll have a created. This will be the created time, and we'll do that and this and that. Save. Great. So now we have our database structure that we're going to need for managing achievements, where we log them here. We'll have unique codes for each individual achievement across locales. So like multiple locales would use the same code. We'll have our response in whatever language our locale is for. And then we have this user achievement column. This is where it logs all the records that are in user achievement. The same thing happened over here with user. I have a user, I have some data about them, and then I have a user achievement column, which is just joining all this stuff together. Relational goo, right? So I think the first thing we should do is how many questions have they answered? I think this is a good metric. So let's do a code will be questions answered 10. So this will be how do I want to do these achievements? So let's go look at how I did it for the casino. How did I write my speech? You just played, so I don't say like congratulations or wahoo or awesome. I'll probably just insert a speech con for that. But I could say, thank you, Corey. You just played your first game of video poker. So we'll just use this as a sample to think about how I want this speech to work. I feel like I didn't spell it wrong, unless it was in a different place, Corey. It looks right to me. But anyway, we're gonna have some speech like this. Oh, thanks. I'm a pretty good speller, but when you type things, you make mistakes. So you got me there for sure. You just played your first game of video poker. I think here what I want to do is say, you just completed your first question. We'll call this question answered 1. So this is just answering. This doesn't mean that you got it right. Now we have questions answered 5. You just completed your 5th trivia question. And then questions answered. You just finished your 10th question. Just finish your 10th yoga. Okay, great. So we have a start on this. This is the one we're gonna play with as we build some achievements. But this is a good start. I'm going to need a locale. We query for these, and I think that's good for now, data-wise. We'll do these two just for fun. These. Okay, so I have 3 achievements in my system. What we want to do now is think about where and how we want to check these things. So this is not going to be in the interceptors. We can get rid of those for now. When they answer a question, this is when we update their question instance. This is where all of the math happens for whether or not they've answered a question. Again, not correctly, just that they've answered a question. So we're rewarding them for continuing to play the game and participate. Even if they don't get the questions right, that's okay. So this question instance gets updated here. And that's even if they're wrong. And if they get it right, then we update their question instance here. So it feels like we could, how could we do this? We could, we're going to have some kind of function, probably is it a helper? Is it data? How do I want to think about this? Let's type some code first. We are going to say const achievement speech equals if I do data dot I could do just how did I do this in the casino? Because I feel like I liked the model that I used there. Let's go see how I did that. So in Lambda, in Chatsino, data, is there like a check? Give achievement. Delete all achievements by user. What is, I feel like this is just the give. Yeah, this is just creating the record. That's great. I need that, but that's not the file I want right now. What we want, I don't see any achievements there. Is it in the individual games? It is. So this is where I call a function called achievement. And then I have all of my odd cases, right? So if this is true, then do this stuff. And all I do is pass in my user record. So this is cool. So I'm basically creating an achievement array because they could get multiple achievements at once. And I return my achievement array. So what calls that? What is calling that achievement? I would guess it's probably poker play. So in here, I'm guessing there is a get record ID, evaluation, create game, active game. It's not in there. Where do I do that? Open file. Is it in deal? Okay, so right here, I'm getting an array of achievements, and I'm passing those out. This is when I'm working with a third-party system, right? So I was building a module that would be able to handle this. So I'm returning an achievement array. So if I come into Lambda, Chatsino, no, outside the casino, I need to go to Lambda handlers, start poker intent, poker deal intent. In here, I would expect to say if result of the achievements is greater than 0, then we played a sound effect, and then we boosted our excitement. You got an achievement, right? And then we tell them how many, either one or many, and then we read the description of that achievement out. So this is the piece. If we think about the answer intent, I'm just going to drop this here to have it as a reference. We're going to be calling, so I'm going to call something like data.check for achievements user. It'll look like that. And then if there, I can do all of the logic in here. So I should be able to not only verify, do all of my checking for all of my different achievement logic, but then also instead of doing what I'm doing here, which is this, compiling these into an array and passing them back out, I was building an independent module with the Chatsino that could work across Alexa and a chatbot and a number of other things. With this is all standalone. This only lives inside the Alexa skill. So I don't really have to break them apart as much. I should be able to just loop through these things and pull things out automatically. So answer intent now needs this check for achievement in my data. So we'll come into my data folder. We'll create a new file called, check for achievement isn't right though. Get achievement speech. And this will be an asynchronous function. Get achievement speech. We're going to pass in the user for this. We should probably also pass our data, right? So we don't end up with our same circular references we had earlier. So inside this function, it'll look like that. And then there's an index file that we need to update, get achievement speech. Get goals require done with that. So get achievement speech now exists. So let's just do something like got an achievement. Congratulations. All right. So, and then we can say something like if achievement speech speak output I should give them the, so I'm thinking about the order we have here. We have correct sound. We have correct speech con. So this is like, ding, you got it right. Wahoo! This is the correct answer. Here's some additional information about that answer. What do you want to do next? It kind of needs to be inserted right here. The problem with that is that I have sound, speech con, correct answer. I think I'm going to break this up. So speak output lives here. I think what we could do instead is just say, let sound, no, we'll do outcome sound speech con answer and note all live like that. So I'm defining those variables, and then instead of wrong answer, this is just going to be answer. And instead of wrong speech con, this is just going to be speech con. Answer note is still a thing. I don't really need that. And this is just going to be outcome sound. Okay, so then this line go away. Now all I'm doing is constructing and assembling my variables, but I don't need to worry about assembling them. Except for this. We'll get there. And then for this becomes speech con. And this becomes answer. And this becomes outcome sound. Wow, what a nice follow, Zbit. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. We're hacking away at some things here. We're composing some speech for Alexa inside a trivia game, and thank you for swinging by. Thank you for the follow. I am the guy doing some things. So then speak output. This is going to be outcome sound. Now I have one little fix I have to do here. This is going to be speech con. This is going to be answer note, and action query. That's all great. Now what we're going to do is say if Okay, so if speak output isn't already something, then we're going to do this because we're going to have situations like this, conditionals that are like, hey, you said something weird, but I don't know what to do with that. Then now we have given ourselves the freedom to right here check for achievements. So I'm going to call out, I'm going to get my achievements. And if achievement speech exists, then I don't need this. Because what we can do is just drop speech right there into my assembly. Yeah, I feel good about this change because now I'm defining the variables in one of two places, pumping them into an array, joining them together. And if this is empty, it's empty. It's fine. Shouldn't hurt us at all. So let's take a listen at what answering a question sounds like now. Now, we're not actually achieving anything yet. We're not locking or unlocking any achievements, but we should hear a message that we unlocked an achievement. So let's hear a science question.
Here is a question from the science category. What is the most malleable of all metals, such that a single gram can be beaten into a sheet of 1 square meter?
Okay, so I have my question. All I have to do is answer it. It shouldn't even matter if I get it right or wrong. So let's say Frankenstein. Definitely a wrong answer.
It appears our trivia questions are better than our programmers. Something just broke. I'm so sorry about that. You could start a quiz or ask for a
User
question.
is not defined in
What should
answer
I do?
intent. Really? So the call I'm making here is user. Oh, I see. Okay. This needs to be session attributes.user. That's all. That was the fix. Let's do it again. Give me a sports question this time. Maybe. What are we doing? Stop it.
This is TKO Trivia. If you thought Jeopardy was challenging, you're in for a treat.
Give me a science question.
This is a fun science question for you. What is the word for the tendency of objects to remain in motion or to stay at rest?
Apple pie is definitely not the right answer to that.
Okay, for apple pie, here's a few recipes. And lots more.
I'm sorry, what? That most certainly shouldn't happen.
This is TKO Trivia. If you thought Jeopardy was challenging, you're in for a treat.
Give me a sports question. Maybe just thought that was so far out of
Here is
bounds.
a question from the sports and games category. The properties in the board game, Monopoly, are named after locations in or near what US city?
It appears our trivia
Okay, I can live with an
questions are
error.
better
I don't
than
know
our
why we were
programmers.
handed recipes
Something
there.
just broke. I'm so sorry about that. You could start a quiz
Data
or
check
ask
for
a
achievement is
question.
not a function.
What should I do?
I feel like it is. So if I look at data, oh, it's not check for achievement. I changed the name. Well, Z-Bent, I'm glad you're here, man. We're building a trivia game. Yeah, there's a couple of ifs. There's certainly a couple of ifs in here. We have a lot of conditionals, right? If we think about how all of these work, we have to check and see, did they get the answer right or wrong? This is a more complex statement. A lot of them are quite simple, right? It's just this, or this, and we move on. But the answer intent has some weird cases because it catches most of the answers that a user gives. So it ends up being a little more complicated. Most of our code, most of our code is simple. It's like it looks like this: simple, a few lines, and we're off and running. But the one we're working on right now is a little more complex because a lot of different ways to land here. This is get achievement speech. You got to call the right function. And we will clean things up as we're going. There will be refactoring and all sorts of stuff. So thank you for the input, though. This is good. Science question, please. Maybe?
This is a fun science question
There
for
we go.
you. In the spectrum of visible light, which color has the longest wavelength?
Purple. That's wrong, but we're going to say purple.
Whoops.
Ha, come
It
on.
looks like one of our programmers broke something. I will let them know and have them fix it as
Speak
soon as
output
possible.
is not
In the
defined?
meantime, would you
Answer
like to
intent.
ask for a random question or start a new quiz?
You're saying speak output is not defined, but isn't it not defined? Remove that. Okay, cool. We'll work with what you've given me here.
I'm always on the clock. Good thing I love my job.
What did I just say? Okay, we'll work with what you're giving me here. That was my Google Assistant popping up. I've never had that happen before. Okay, let's do a different category. Give me a nature question.
This is a fun nature question for you. How many adult teeth does a human have, including the wisdom teeth?
All right, we'll say 7. Again, very wrong answer.
Blood. That answer is not correct. The answer was 32. Adult humans have 32 teeth. Children, before losing their baby teeth, have only 20. Object promise. You can say something like, give me a science question, or you can start today's game.
Okay,
What
so
will it be?
I forgot to await this, so he just got object promise as his response. That's great. Let's go again. Give me another nature question. Dana, I'm with you. They are developing minds of their own for sure. Are you going to work? Please work. Seems like you're working. You got the question. You provided the response. Come on, debugger. I don't take credit for this. This is just not working sometimes. I think maybe it's that I move too fast, or I'm starting and stopping services and it doesn't like all that. But deal with it.
This is TKO Trivia.
There we go. Give me a nature question.
Here is a question from the nature category. Rounded to the nearest whole number, how many pounds does 1 cubic foot of water weigh? Is it 22 pounds, 42 pounds, 62 pounds, or 82 pounds?
Water's a lot heavier than you think it is, but 1 cubic foot of water weighs 62 pounds. We're going to say 22 pounds.
Yikes. That answer is not correct. The answer was 62 pounds. You got an achievement. Congratulations.
Okay.
What would you like to do now? You can start today's game or ask for a trivia question.
Okay, so we have that working. Let's try getting a question right also, just to make sure. It shouldn't affect anything, but just to make sure I got my logic right in both of them.
I picked a tricky sports and games question this time.
We're going to do it. Come on. I mean, I can see the response right here. You got that one right. You got an achievement. Congratulations. It's weird that it didn't tell what the right answer was, but why aren't we getting a response here? It's so frustrating. I just want the tools to work. Okay. Let's restart everything again. Do that.
This is TKO Trivia. If you thought Jeopardy was... Here is a question from the nature category. What product made from trees and used in the wine industry comes mainly from Portugal?
Cork.
Yowza. You got that one right. You got an achievement. Congratulations. What should we do this time?
Okay, so that's good too. It's weird to me though. I thought that we were grabbing correct answer right here. So I have wrong answer. And that's okay, I see. So that's just the way that I'm treating it. So for wrong answers, I actually insert what you said and say, no, I'm sorry, that wasn't the right answer. But for correct answers, I just say things like, that was correct. Let's take a look at my speech. You got that one right. Looks like that's the only correct answer I have, actually. So we'll need more of those. But when I have a wrong answer, that answer is not correct. I thought there was the answer is, I thought that I had done that. The correct answer was something like that. Let's see. How are we doing that? The answer, so right here, yes, this is what I'm thinking. And, oh, because I'm reading, okay. Like it should be saying this, the answer was peace, and it didn't. You got that correct. The answer was whatever. Okay, let's do that one more time. Because it did it on the wrong answer, and I couldn't figure out why I wasn't doing it on the right answer. Science, please.
This is a fun science question for you.
Earth.
What is the name of the most massive
Earth is the answer.
Boom. You got that one right. The answer was Earth. You got an achievement. Congratulations. What would you like to do now?
Okay. And then let's do a sports question and get it wrong.
I picked a tricky sports and games question this time. How many lettered dice are there in a standard game of Boggle?
Oh, we want the wrong answer, so I'll say 10.
Last. That answer is not correct. The answer was 16. You got an achievement. Congratulations.
Excuse me.
You can say something like, give me a science question, or you can start today's game. What will it be?
Okay. So we now have the achievement engine injected into our language, right? So it's not actually awarding any achievements yet. If we go back and look at our get achievement speech, it's just returning this. But tomorrow, we will be able to modify this to actually go into our database, use some logic here to be able to validate whether or not an achievement was granted. And if it was, then we go get the speech for that achievement and return it here. I guess the other thing I should check is if I return nothing. If I return that, everything should still work. It's just, oh, what was that? Okay. It should still work. It's just that we shouldn't say anything about an achievement now. So give me a science question.
This is a fun science question for you. What is the name of the most massive solid body in our solar system?
This is the Earth question again. So we'll do Venus.
Oh, that answer is not correct. The answer was Earth. What would you like to do now?
Cool. And so it's just basically skipping over that one. That's what we need to do there. So let me see. Oh, Zachman sent over an image. Oh, I don't have image. I don't have access to that image, Zachman. Can you? Here, I'll just request access. There we go. Now I just requested access to that, and then I will put you on Ryu. I think that's going to do it for today. We will have to. Let me make sure I take your image path so that I don't lose that. Zachman 231990. I just want to make sure I get that right. Okay, sent. I have that in my inbox now. So if you get me access to it, then I can use that, and I will put you on Ryu. I'll even add that as a note. Done. Okay, so I have to get going. I have Mark Tucker, who is a prolific skill builder. He's built a bunch of cool things, including a game called Snatchword, if you guys haven't had a chance to play that on your devices. But I'm going to be interviewing him for Alexa and Friends here in just a few minutes. We're going to start right at noon. So I'm going to go. I'm going to get some lunch. And we made some good progress today. And tomorrow we'll build out an achievement engine that will grant achievements as things happen. So with that, I'm going to sign off. And I'm going to go over here to Raid Channel. Oh, we've got a few good choices here. We're going to go rush C# Fritz. We're going to go see what he's doing today. So I'm going to start that raid. We'll get that moving here. Talking newspaper services. I'm glad you're here. All of the videos are found on YouTube. You can find them on my channel too. But I'm really glad that you're back. Good to see you. So we are ready to go see C# Fritz. Let's do it. Bye, everybody.